Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the final session of the Public Sector track at AWS Summit ASEAN 2023. Thank you for being here. My name is Shalvia. I'm a Solutions Architect at AWS Public Sector here in Singapore. And today with me, we have Clarence, who will come on stage later on to share success stories of implementing secure and controlled machine learning environment with Amazon AppStream 2.0. So today, we'll look at the challenges of machine learning environment provisioning and how Amazon AppStream 2.0 helped to address that. We'll then look at a demo where we'll install tools like RStudio on Amazon AppStream and provide that access to an end user. We'll then have a sharing by Clarence on how MOE's pilot project uses Amazon AppStream to solve some of the problems that they face in machine learning environment provisioning to the MOE staff. And after that, we'll have another demo where we will analyze a data set that is stored in Amazon Redshift using the RStudio that we installed in the previous demo. And after that, we'll conclude the session by sharing some of the next steps that you can take after today's session. Have you ever had to bring your work laptop on a vacation and then spilled a little water on it during your flight because you didn't close your water bottle properly before putting it in your backpack? If that example feels a little too specific, that's because that's what happened to me back in January. And if you're like me, perhaps you couldn't get back to work straight away because you need a replacement laptop. And in my case, it took at least 2 working days to get a working laptop. And not to mention, I lost all the data and all the work in progress that I had stored in that computer. Another similar mishaps, like losing your laptops, for instance, can even be dangerous, especially if you're someone working with sensitive data like data analysts or data scientists. And then we have this familiar blue screen. We all know that when they say this will take a while, it sounds a little vague, and I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. In my experience, it can take hours or even a full working day and stops you from working. This whole unfortunate blue screen incidents can be very disruptive to your team and hence slow down your organization. Especially in this age of big data, AI, and machine learning, where the speed of data-driven decision-making matters the most. Now, talking about AI and machine learning, let's take a quick look at the growing trend of AI and machine learning. AI and machine learning went from being an aspirational technology to a mainstream one extremely fast. And in recent weeks, it's even more so with generative AI like your GPT and the latest addition, Amazon Bedrock, making headlines everywhere. And for a long time, the technology was limited to a few major tech companies and hardcore academic researchers. However, things began to change when cloud computing becomes more available and more affordable. And quite literally since then, machine learning has become a major driver in the success of an organization. A survey done by IDC shows that global spending on artificial intelligence will reach $300 billion by 2026, and that is growing 4.2 times faster than an average IT spend. Another survey by Gartner shows that 80% of executives think that automation with AI is no longer for a specific business decision, but it can be applied to any business decision. And lastly, another survey by Deloitte reveals that 94% of business leaders believes that AI is critical to the success of their organization. Despite the recent hype of AI from generative AI and machine learning ecosystem has existed for many years and in fact has matured. It means that there are a wide range of tools, services, and frameworks available to you to help you accelerate your AI ML journey. And these tools range from the open source ones built by the community to the proprietary software that you can purchase. And each of these tools comes with their own strength and helps you to solve specific problems in AI/ML development. So with the many diverse use cases that we can apply AI/ML on, you would want to make sure that your data team has the flexibility to use the most optimal tools for their work so that you can help them accelerate their AI/ML building process as well. Essentially, to get your data scientists to build faster, you would want them to have workstations that is simple, easy to access, and secure. And with the hybrid and distributed model of workforce that we see very common nowadays, you would want these workstations to be accessible from anywhere in the world as well. And of course, you would want to avoid having them to experience the disruptive blue screens again and have their environment ready as and when they need it. And to build faster, you would want them to have the tools that they prefer at hand so as to avoid having them to relearn the tools that may not add value to their work. On the other hand, having solutions like that can sound daunting to your IT team. The traditional way of issuing physical devices and deploying a virtual desktop infrastructure to your on-premise means there are plenty of infrastructure to manage, ranging from maintaining your physical desktops, your on-premise servers, upgrading your software on VDI, and licensing agreement. And when your data team grows, this can add operational burden to your IT team, which in turn may drive higher operational costs. And if your IT team isn't equipped to handle the scale, security and compliance can be compromised, as this infrastructure could be failed to be monitored extensively. Hence, your IT team needs a solution that enables them with an operational process that is simple and means that the provisioning more machine learning environments and securing them doesn't translate to more heavy lifting to your IT team. So they can remain agile and efficient in terms of their operation process, as well as to keep the cost low and transparent. In order to accelerate your AI/ML journey, you would want your organizations to have remote machine learning workstations. They are secure, scalable, flexible, and affordable, while alleviating the burden of your IT team. And all of this can be achieved with Amazon AppStream 2.0. Amazon AppStream 2.0 is a cloud-based application and desktop streaming service that allows your data team to access their workstations over any browsers, which means there is no need for any other software to use. And the applications and the desktops are streamed from the virtual machines in your AWS cloud over nice DCP protocol, which is Amazon's proprietary high-performance streaming protocol that is encrypted and secure by default. And with nice DCP, the experience of users interacting with the desktops running on the cloud over the browser is almost indistinguishable as compared to when they interact with a physical desktop. Amazon AppStream is also a fully managed service, which means you don't have to manage any infrastructure that is running the desktops and application. It can also scale in and out on demand to essentially tens of thousands of instances across the globe. And the scaling mechanism happens automatically depending on the scaling policies that you implement. And with the pay-as-you-go pricing and the on-demand configuration, you're only charged for what you use, which means AppStream can be more affordable where it avoids having you to over-provision and overusing more than you need. Another AppStream's important superpower is its capability to secure the use of your data. AppStream instances are deployed in VPC, which is your private network in your AWS cloud. And with the VPC endpoint, the traffic between your AppStream instances and where your data is stored, perhaps in Amazon S3 or Amazon Redshift, is therefore private and secure. And you can also control access to the dataset per individual users using IAM rules and IAM policies. So you can be sure that you give the right access of the right datasets to the right people. AppStream also allows you to integrate with your existing Active Directory and SAML identity provider for authentication, so you don't have to manage a separate user credentials. And this simplifies the process of authenticating and securing your AppStream instances. Last but not least, AppStream comes with a set of built-in data protection policy controls that allows you to restrict file transfer by disabling downloads and uploads and preventing copy-pasting between the local machine and your AppStream instances. Apart from that, AppStream also provides you with the flexibility to choose the compute resources that you need. For instance, if you are doing big data processing, where you need a higher memory resource required, you can opt for the memory optimized instance. And if you want to do machine learning inference, where you require a GPU-powered instances, you can opt for the graphics instance type. Now let's take a look at how we can set up AppStream. First, we create an image builder, which is essentially a virtual machine that is sitting in your VPC that acts as an admin desktop. This is where you install and test your application. And the whole installation process is exactly the same as how it would be on a physical desktop. We'll see it later on during the demo. Image Builder also comes with an image assistant, which will provide you with a step-by-step guide on the image preparation process. Image Assistant also helps you to improve and test your user experience. Once your image builder is configured, AppStream will then create a snapshot of this image builder and save the image as a golden image, which we will then use when we create a fleet. A fleet is a group of virtual machines. They are running your desktops and applications. And in the fleet configuration, you can specify the instance types, the capacity, the scaling policies, the networking policies, and so on. You will then associate this fleet to a stack where we define the user settings. Once that is done, we will then assign users to the stack where they will receive a login URL from AppStream, and then they can use that login URL to access the AppStream instances that is provisioned to them. And that AppStream instances comes with all the installed software that we built in the image builder, and they can use those tools to access their data sets that are stored in other AWS services like Amazon S3, Amazon Redshift, Amazon FSx, or even Amazon SageMaker. Now, let's take a look at it in action. In this demo, we'll do a provisioning of RStudio to the end users using Amazon AppStream. So this is the AWS console view of Amazon AppStream. And as mentioned, we'll start by creating the golden image using that image builder. And we'll navigate to that under the images on the left panel. And just a reminder, Image Builder is nothing but a virtual machine in your VPC that acts as an NV desktop where you want to install, and then it will create the golden image from there. I've pre-created one here. When we create Image Builder, we specify the base image. And in this case, I'm using a Windows Server 2019 that is compatible with the G4DN instances because I want to run my fleet later on with a GPU-powered instance type. Now we are connecting to it, so we are basically streaming the image builder over the browser. And you can see, this is exactly like what you will expect on a Windows desktop. Nothing new, nothing scary. So now we will start doing the installation by uploading the installer file of RStudio using the upload feature. Of course, you can enable internet access from the image builder to install this file directly from the internet. Okay, once I have the file, I will start the installation process. Again, it looks exactly the same as how it would be when you install an application on a Windows. Once that is done, I will use the image assistant to start my image creation process. So you see that you are given a step-by-step guide here. On the first step, we will add RStudio that we installed on the application catalog in this image builder. And then on the second step, we can actually configure the default applications and Windows settings. But in this demo, we are skipping this because we are keeping the default settings as it is. After that, On the third step is the testing step. Image Assistant will allow us to switch to a test user and log in to Image Builder as a test user here to verify the user experience when they are interacting with the RStudio. And for me, it looks fine there, so I'm going to switch back to Administrator to start continuing on the process of the step 4, which is optimize. Over here, Image Assistant helps you to shorten the launch time even further to improve the user experience. Once that is done, we are inputting the image name to be generated and review them. And once we are ready, AppStream will then disconnect from the image builder and then start the snapshotting process automatically. Once that is done, the image will appear under the image registry. We can then use that image to create a fleet. And here I've created the fleet. And again, a fleet is just a group of virtual machines where your applications and desktops are running. And you can also configure the instance type, the fleet size, the fleet type, the capacity, the scaling policies, including the networking policies as well. Once that is done, we'll create then a stack, which will associate with the fleet that we created earlier. And in this stack, I have enabled home folders for my users, and that home folders is backed by Amazon S3, and all of this is automated. And another one, we can set the user setting. This is where we can enable or disable the file transfer, uploading or downloading, and copy pasting. Once we have the stack, I can then now assign a user to the stack. I'm assigning with my Amazon email here. So I got a login URL here, which I'm accessing, and I can log in with the credentials that's provided to me. And over here, I have the choice to stream either the desktop or the application view. I'm going to stream the entire desktop because I want to interact with the entire desktop. And as an end user, as you can see, once I log into AppStream and stream the desktop, I already have the RStudio ready for me to be used. So this is the end of the first demo. If you notice, the whole process end-to-end is done over a browser, so there's no need for additional software there. And the image building process is made even simpler with the help of Image Assistant. And with just a few clicks, you can actually provision multiple machine learning environments to your end users. So now, rather than hearing all from me, all the good things about Amazon AppStream, I would like to invite Clarence, a data engineer from Ministry of Education, to share his stories of using a AppStream to solve the problems that they face in Ministry of Education Singapore. Clarence, please.
Thank you, Xavier. Hello, everyone. My name is Clarence. I'm a data engineer from the Experimental Systems and Technology Lab at MOE Singapore. So today, what am I going to do? I'm just going to share about a project where the use of Amazon AppStream turned out to be quite handy for our needs. So first, let me tell you about our problem statement. So MOE has vast amounts of data sets that could be very useful for policy planning and operations. In order to unlock the value of the data, our objective was just this. We wanted to provide a secure environment where our users can use data. Right? So this sounds simple enough, but actually if you dive deeper into the details, you'll see that there are some tricky challenges involved, which I have highlighted here in orange font. So first, the MOE ecosystem spans not just MOE headquarters, but all of our primary schools, secondary schools, junior colleges, ITEs, polytechnics, universities, and so on. So it's a huge and diverse ecosystem. And across all of these different institutions, there are subtle differences in the security, networking, and hardware involved. So having an environment that is compatible and seamless across all of these different institutions, and yet secure at the same time, is not a trivial thing. Secondly, MOE has a large and diverse workforce. We have more than 50,000 staff. That includes staff at headquarters, teachers in schools, and other staff performing various support functions. And they all have different data literacy levels and use cases for data. That will range from our full-time data analysts at HQ, who will perform analysis of our national education policies and programs, data scientists who will build machine learning models, down to, on the ground, the school staff who will use the data to analyze student performance or administer school programs. Any environment that we build has to be flexible enough to cater to the needs of all of these staff. So coming from a data science background, when I was faced with this problem, my immediate instinct was to turn to the latest, sexiest integrated data platforms, such as Amazon SageMaker, Databricks, which will all have very powerful out-of-the-box capabilities, which could then be made available to our users. But our product owners who know our users very well, they took one look at this, and then they figured this is not what their users wanted. So you see, many of our data users in MOE, they are not full-time data users. In addition to their data work, they also have a whole lot of other responsibilities that take up a lot of their time. So when you share new software with them, what they care about is not whether your software has the latest machine learning capabilities, or whether you have the latest hardware or latest GPU access. What they care about is this, how much time do I need to spend to learn your software? How much time do you need to spend to be familiar with your software? And what they worry about when you introduce new software to them is, if they accidentally press the wrong button or if they forget a step, will they lose their data or will they mess things up? So it was very important that any environment that we share with them has to be familiar, easy to learn, easy to use. So when we heard this requirement, familiar, easy to learn, don't need to train them, we figured what they wanted was actually this, just a Windows desktop. So this is what they see every single day, nothing new, nothing scary at all. And on the desktop, what we will do is just install the popular open source tools such as RStudio, Anaconda, and Jupyter Notebooks. So that they will then give them a familiar environment that they don't really need to be trained in, but they can still use just as how they would already be using the tools today. And so that was what led us to pilot this initiative with a desktop streaming service, AppStream. What we have done is this. We have a Windows AppStream fleet, and on the fleet, we install popular open source tools such as Anaconda and RStudio. Should the needs of our users change in future, if there are new tools introduced, actually installing new software is quite straightforward. We can just use the image builder to do it. And then from AppStream, you can connect to our Redshift cluster or S3 buckets, which would then host all our shared data sets and files. Okay. Then, so in order to connect to the AppStream images, our users from the government intranet would connect to the VPC endpoints of AppStream. These endpoints can be configured for security reasons to only accept connections from our government intranet. So there's no connections allowed from the internet. AppStream also allows us to integrate with our SAML identity provider, so there's single sign-on functionalities for our users. Okay, so now I'll do a quick demo to show you what the solution looks like. When the users log into AppStream, this is what they see. Yeah, so Windows desktop, nothing scary, nothing unfamiliar, exactly what they will see in their day-to-day work, right? So on the desktop, you will see some folders over there. These are linked to S3 buckets that store files and data sets. There's a home folder, which is AppStream's native functionality, allowing the users to have their own personal storage space. So anything they keep in the home folders would persist across sessions. There's also a shared dataset folder where we just put all our shared datasets and files inside there. And then on the desktop, you'll see all the open source tools that you can install, things like RStudio, Anaconda, and so on. Yeah, so if we tap into RStudio, this is what you see. So exactly like RStudio desktop, which many of our users are already familiar with, nothing new and scary. What I've done here is I've written some code to connect to our Redshift cluster. And then now that I've connected the cluster, I will just load my data. Yeah, and then once the data is loaded, actually it's very straightforward to perform your data work, data analysis, machine learning, depending on your own needs. What I've done here is to just use the data to plot some simple graphs. One advantage that we have found of AppStream is that because it uses a very familiar Windows interface, everyone is able to understand what's going on without the need for any lengthy training sessions or user guides to explain the interface to you. In fact, another advantage which we have found is this. Our product owners, they can think of ways to use the native functionalities of Windows to achieve their needs. So this came about because we were asking ourselves the question, hey, if we want to broadcast announcements to our users, how can we do it? And then our product managers had this inspiration. He just said, change the background wallpaper of your master image. Change it to something that will grab the attention of the users. And immediately when they log in, they will see the announcement that you need to broadcast. There's no way you can miss this. At the end of the day, after all this is done, what have we achieved? So despite the differences in all the enterprise IT systems across the MOE ecosystem, we have managed to provision a simple, standardized data science environment that our users can use for all their diverse data needs. Thank you for listening to my sharing. I will now pass the time back to Shelvia to do the conclusion.
Thank you, Clarence, for the wonderful sharing. So moral of the story, keep things simple, right? So we have seen in the first demo how simple it was to install tools like RStudio on Amazon AppStream. And with the help of Image Builder and Image Assistant, that whole process was so simple and you can done it over the browser. We have also seen in Clarence's demo how the user experience is like when interacting with the desktops on cloud. You can see that there is no lag or delays there when they are interacting and clicking all the icons, running the analysis. So to conclude, in a nutshell, with Amazon AppStream, you eliminate 5 key challenges that we typically see in machine learning environment provisioning. Firstly, AppStream's on-demand and pay-as-you-go pricing allows you to avoid over-provisioning in capacity and overspending from your actual usage. And with Amazon AppStream, you can also now mitigate the risk of data leakage because you can work on the data set within the cloud environment without having to transfer files out of that secure environment. And Amazon AppStream also eliminates the complexity that comes with having to maintain physical devices. So things like your OS patches and security upgrades becomes a one-time thing, regardless of how many machine learning environments you have. And you also avoid the operational burden that comes with scaling. With the golden image, you can scale to tens of thousands of instances without having your operations work more, right? And last but not least, your data team has the flexibility to choose and use the most optimal tools that they want, be it the open source tools, proprietary software, or even legacy software, as long as they can be installed on a Windows or Linux operating system. And with that, that's the end of our session. If you want to find out more about Amazon AppStream, please scan this QR code. It will lead you to a web page. I've collated some of the blog posts, tutorials, and self-paced workshop, including my contact information as well, if you want to discuss further. So you can also learn from AWS training and certification. You can visit skillbuilder.aws to access over 600 free digital courses and hands-on labs. And once you are ready, you can also take AWS certifications to showcase your skills and explore your career path, right? And we are also on socials. If you want to get up to date with all things AWS, you can follow them. We hope that this session has inspired you to find ways to accelerate your AI/ML journey. And thank you once again for attending the AWS Summit ASEAN 2023. I've placed the QR code again here in case some of you missed it earlier. And with that, thank you so much for coming and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.